What is up, my aesthetic boys? It's Fresh, back with another video. Today we have an episode of r/Entitled Parents, and if you're so stingy you won't let a kid have a glass of milk, this one's for you. Another vaccination, another entitled mom. I took my 2-year-old son for vaccination yesterday. The hospital has newly added a playpen near the vaccination room. While waiting for our turn, I let my son play in the playpen. There was a little girl who was trying to hug him and kiss him. My son is uncomfortable with strangers touching him. So first he tries to hide his face with his hands from the girl, and when that doesn't work, pushes the girl away and runs up to me and gets up on my lap. The little girl fell down but got up and started playing again by herself. Everything was well and good till the EM comes up to me and says, "Your son is gay." I just stare at her while she's ranting that only a gay won't let her angelic daughter kiss him. There were other parents also who were shocked, and a few tried to cover the ears of their children. Just then, the nurse called our number and we went inside. About 5 minutes later, we exit the room and see the entitled mom engaged in a shouting match with another parent who was objecting to the choice of the EM's words. Rather than engaging anyone else, I took my son and exited the hospital. Entitled parent stories just how I like them. At least somewhat believable, short, to the point, and absolutely insane. Woman wants me to let her cook her child alive. So, summer of 2017, I worked as a lifeguard at the local water park. At the time, I was 17 and thought it would be fun to work there. There are a lot of bad things that have happened and lots of stupid people, but this one has stuck with me the most. We had several water slides and a hot tub, which was particularly popular due to the weather averaging in the 70s. We had several safety rules and signs posted around the hot tub stating things like, no more than 10 minutes at a time, no more than 30 people in the tub, no children under age 6 in the tub, etc. The last one was often the cause of parents getting upset because their child was, quote, freezing and just wanted to warm up. We would allow children 6 and under to sit on the edge and put their feet in the hot tub, but due to the county health department rules, we weren't allowed to let them be in the tub completely. Enter entitled parent. It was early on a Friday morning, just after open, so about 10 a.m., and there were maybe 6 families in the park, no wait times, and no small children in the kiddie pool. This lady walks up to the hot tub and starts getting in, babe in arms. I guess by sight this child was 2-ish. I reminded the lady of the rule, but she could place her child on the edge with the feet in the water if she liked. Shortly after, I look back over at the lady, and not only was her child not on the side of the tub, her child was completely submerged in the water, which was another rule. You couldn't put your head under. So I rush over to her and her child to check on the child, and she quickly scooped her child out of the water and placed her on the side of the pool, all well within sight. I said to her, "Ma'am, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to leave the hot tub if I see you place your child in the water again." She snapped back at me, "Don't call me ma'am, I'm probably the same age as you. Anyways, what's it to you? It's my child, and if I say it's okay, then it's okay." I responded, "I'm sorry, but since I don't know your name, that's what I thought would be appropriate to call you. As much as I would like to let you decide what temperature water is okay for your child, it's part of my job to enforce the rules, and that particular one isn't even created by my employer, but rather by the county health department." She scoffed, then said, "Sure it is." She rolled her eyes and walked towards the other side of the hot tub. Shortly after, she got out of the hot tub and walked up to one of my coworkers, asked something, then went to the office to speak with my boss. A few minutes later, my boss came to me and said, "A lady just complained to me that you were being rude to her. Want to tell me what happened?" So I explained that I noticed that she wasn't following our rules and had brought her toddler into the hot tub regardless of my warnings. My boss was totally understanding and said, "Yeah, that's what I thought. She tried to tell me that you had called her kid names and you called her fat. She said she wanted you fired and free tickets to the park. I told her I'd reprimand you and we'd look into what happened. I just came over here to make it look like I was giving you a talking to." Man, the entitled parents of water and theme parks really are something else, but my one issue with the story, where can I find a hot tub that sits 30 people? I mean, I've never been to a water park that has a hot tub, I guess, but a hot tub for 30 people? I forgot to tell you that my kid is sick. This weekend, I took my kids to visit their grandparents. After an overnight stay for Hubs and I to visit, I left them there for the week. Another relative, EP, has a wide span of kids, from adults with their own kids to a toddler. She left the youngest one in the care of the oldest to go out of town, who brought all the kids over to play. EP also neglected to inform her babysitter that the youngest had a stomach virus until the poor kid had exposed us all to it. He's not yet verbal, so he couldn't tell us he had thrown up the night before. Surprise! He tossed his cookies on the floor. Guess who just puked her guts out 20 minutes ago? Me. I called the grandparents to warn them that the toddler was contagious and it wasn't just a food disagreement. Too late. One of my kids has already barfed, and so has Grandpa. Oh, and the emergency that the entitled parent left town for? To get a tattoo. Thanks a lot, EP. People who do this stink. It honestly comes down to the issue of caring about others more than yourself at times, or even the same amount, or even caring about others at all. This EP was so self-centered that she saw going out of town to get a tattoo was more important than either staying with her sick child or even informing everyone else that her child was sick. I feel really bad for those grandparents who are now even themselves getting sick and have to take care of potentially multiple young sick children. It's Dollar General, not Gucci. So this just happened to me today. I'm getting into a new job to keep up with bills, hopefully. I was in my local Dollar General picking up some stuff for my lunches, as I can get stuff here and it's close to my house, so it's a win-win for me. It's also in a small town, which is so small it's maybe 2 or 3 small streets and one main road. You blink and you miss it type of town. I see this EM and her hellspawn entitled kid come in, and they're dressed in what looks like some really expensive clothing, and I see she has a nice looking designer purse. I didn't recognize the symbol, so I'm not sure if it actually was designer or not. The kid is just screeching on about how he wants some new shirt he saw online that was from Gucci, and the mom keeps telling him to shut up and she's gonna get it for him. He just needs to wait until they find it. Weird, considering you're in a dollar store, but whatever. They go around the entire store and look through what clothing they have, which isn't much, but at least it's something. The entire time, the kid keeps screeching at the top of his lungs about this stupid shirt. I got up to the register area and was getting ready to start putting my stuff up so the cashier could ring me out, when entitled mom pushes past me and slams her hands down on the counter. She goes on to scream at the cashier for them not having the item they're looking for. They better have it, or else she's going to call corporate and complain directly to them. The cashier just kind of looks at her with a what the heck kind of look, which makes her even more angry. She starts going on about how dare the store make her kid cry, which I laughed at because he came in that way, and how they were ruining their mommy's sun time, as she put it. The kid looked about 10 or 12, so I doubt he calls her mommy anymore, but who knows these days. EK runs over crying and is knocking stuff over, candy, lighters, anything up front basically he can just tip over to show the cashier how upset he was. The cashier is trying to call her manager and get the situation taken care of because she's getting visibly upset and I really felt bad for her. The manager comes out and tells the woman she has to leave, and she's clearly in the wrong kind of store for what she's looking for. Entitled mom screams at the manager, asking her, "Does she know who she is? I'll get you fired for throwing me out," etc., etc. The usual entitled parent kind of stuff. The manager threatens to call the police and press charges for trespassing and destruction of property. Entitled mom screams at her some more, then leaves, dragging her screaming hellspawn behind her as he's knocking more displays over. The manager comes around to clean stuff up, and being the nice person I am, I try to help because I felt bad for her. The manager thanked me and rang me out personally and gave me a small discount for helping. Yeah, perhaps the slightest hint of r/that happened, but a believable situation all in. Did the manager give you a discount? Probably scanned a 10% off coupon code. That part I can believe. The big problem that I see isn't the fact that a 10 or 12-year-old could be calling their mother mommy. You know, people do different things in different families. The real problem is a 12-year-old throwing a temper tantrum in a dollar store where he thinks it's acceptable to show his frustration by knocking displays over. And of course, the entitled mom, being the entitled mom that she is, doesn't think that's a problem, and in fact blames the store for her kid's outrageous behavior. Entitled Mom took away my best friend in elementary school over a glass of milk. When I was in elementary school, I was best friends with this one girl, BF, and we were both in the same Girl Scouts troop. Her mom, the entitled mom, was also one of the scout leaders. Best friend came over to my house almost every day because my house was around the corner from the school, whereas her parents lived on a multi-million-dollar country estate about a 30-minute drive away. Best friend's mom was a doctor, so she often worked late, and her dad was always on business trips, so best friend sometimes stayed with my family for dinner, and entitled mom would pick her up in the evening. One time, my scout troop had a horse-themed meeting, so entitled mom hosted us so we could look at her horses. Not to ride them, oh no. We weren't even allowed to touch them lest we contaminate them with pour. We were only allowed to look at and admire them. Anyways, at one point I went over to their fridge and unthinkingly poured myself a glass of milk. I don't think it would be a problem because best friend had unlimited access to food and drink at my house. My mom always taught me to be ultra hospitable and to treat guests like they were gods. Keep in mind that my parents weren't poor, but they definitely weren't rich either. They just taught me to be generous, so as a child, I just assumed it was normal that everyone else was like that too. Well, entitled mom absolutely flipped out when I poured the glass of milk. She shrieked, "No way am I paying for my milk to go to Girl Scouts," and made me pour the glass back into the milk container in front of the whole troop. I spilled some of it because I was shaking, so she rolled her eyes and was just generally being nasty, making it seem like I was being greedy and that I'm the entitled one. I started crying. I was so humiliated. At the end of the night, best friend said she felt really bad and apologized. When I told my mom about it later that night, she was appalled and apparently called entitled mom to tell her off. I wasn't there to listen to the call. On Monday, I tried talking to my friend, but she wouldn't even look at me. She said her mom told her we weren't allowed to be friends anymore. I was devastated. Joke's on entitled mom though, because she had to start paying a babysitter to pick her kid up when she's working late. Fun fact, this wasn't even the first time entitled mom had been nasty to me. One time at best friend's house, before this whole fiasco, we were playing on the trampoline with a couple of our mutual friends, and entitled mom poked her head out of the patio door and yelled, "The trampoline has a weight limit. Tell OP to get off." At the time, I was going through puberty and was a little chubby, so this was obviously a comment on my weight. The other girls pushed me off the trampoline and mocked me for being fat. So, a couple immediate takeaways from this story. First off, kids can be really mean. Second off, sometimes parents can be mean. And third, sometimes parents can encourage kids to be really mean, especially in the trampoline incident described at the end of this story. Now, I'm sure there will be some people in the comments, as there were on the original Reddit post comments, that are going to say things or think things like, well, being stingy, that's how the rich stay rich. Let me say this. Publicly shaming a child is not part of the getting rich game plan. I can't get mad at my mom or I'm the asshole. A bit of a rant since I can't say jack to my own family about this. This has been a major problem with my family concerning my emotions. I can't really get angry around them, otherwise I get an annoying chewing out from them about how I'm always angry and that I need to grow up. What just happened today made me realize that my mom might be slowly becoming, or already be, an entitled parent. Early March of this year, my older brother had bought me a Cavaliers hoodie. Well, I don't really like sports. I really liked it because it was rather big and fit wonderfully. All was well until my mom decided to one day get my sweaters while I slept and tossed them into the washer to clean. When I wake up and find them, the Cavaliers sweater has shrunk a bit. I tell her about it and point out how the washing instructions say how to clean it. Our fault for not reading it. I ignore it and move on, still wearing it as it still fit okay. Fast forward to today. I'm getting ready for work when she comes into my room to drop off my sweaters. She decided to come in at night to clean them again. Seeing the Cavaliers one, I immediately go over to check it out. Surprise, surprise, it's shrunk again. This time, more so now that it doesn't even fit me properly without it feeling uncomfortable. When she passes by my room again, I quickly ask her if she washed it correctly this time, like how the instructions say. Nope, she tossed it in with the other clothes because I don't wash my clothes, apparently. Despite the fact that I have told her countless times that I clean them on Tuesday, my day off of work. I absolutely wanted to chew her out for this because once is an accident, twice is just not caring. However, I knew it would be pointless as the rest of my family always takes my mom's side. My anger over this blatant disregard of personal property just ignored and filed under childish, as I shouldn't get so angry over a piece of clothing. It's been like this for years, unable to be angry at them or I'm immature and not acting like an adult. Sorry for venting, I just needed a place to do it because it wasn't like they would listen. Yes, at the end of the day, it's one sweatshirt. But get this. You're allowed to be upset if your favorite sweatshirt gets destroyed because your mom doesn't listen to what you're asking her to do when she chooses to do your laundry. You know, you're allowed to be upset that a present that your brother gave you is now essentially ruined. That kind of psychologically manipulative behavior wherein you're the asshole for getting mad at your mother is called gaslighting, and it's very common in a lot of dysfunctional family units. I'm sure plenty of viewers have experienced very similar incidents, and remember, it's not just about this one hoodie. It's about whatever the hoodie of last month was, and the month before that, and the year before that. And if these things keep on building up over time, even if the individual events may be small, it's going to have a serious impact. Thank you to everyone who watched this video. Be sure to subscribe for more daily Reddit content. Drop a like if you liked the video, and I will see you all tomorrow.